So yes, in this book, CompTIA IT Fundamentals, this is the bad boy right here. You can order it off of Amazon. You can pick it up from a local bookstore. I personally got mine from Barnes. No, I did get mine off of Amazon. Amazon Prime doesn't take long at all. We're gonna go through that textbook here in these videos, and hopefully you will leave with a sound understanding of computers and have the knowledge needed to go in, take this test, pass this test, and get your first IT certification and move on to whatever you may desire. So here on the screen, I will give you a high-level overview of what each one of these chapters entails, and the videos following will go more in depth. So CompTIA, in this IT Fundamentals book, they broke it down into 14 chapters under 3 umbrellas. We'll look at computer basics, we'll look at setting up and using computers, and last but not least, we'll look at network, security, and maintenance. All 3 of these umbrellas highlighted in green. Of the 14 chapters, we'll look at chapter 1, how people use computers. We'll look at the history, we'll look at how people are currently using them today, going online to shop, to book travel, to call a ride, to call their loved ones, to manage their finances. We'll look at how people are currently using computers today, and what implications can this have on the future, and how much good and bad has these computers given us today. Next, we'll look at system hardware. We'll look at everything physical on these machines. We'll look at keyboards. We'll look at the actual mouses and printers and physical hardware that you can touch. Anything computer related, which you can lay your hands on, pick up, and observe, more than likely is a piece of hardware. It differs from software, these programs which run on your computer. So we'll look at system hardware. We'll look at input and output ports and peripherals. If you were to pick up a laptop or any device really, they usually have some type of ports, some type of openings where you can insert different devices, whether that may be a headset such as this, which plugs into a 3.5 millimeter audio jack, or the USB that's currently plugged into my laptop. That's on a USB port. There are plenty of ports. There's HDMI. There's different ports for videos such as VGA and DVI. We'll look at all the different openings on a laptop and how certain grades of machines have maybe more ports or less ports, all depending on what the end user is looking for. Then next we'll go to data storage and sharing. With the amount of information just increasing exponentially, where does all this data get stored? It's very easy just to say, up in the clouds somewhere, but we're really going to get down to the physical, to the wires, and where is all this information being placed, and how are people able to retrieve it so quickly. So data storage and management is huge. It's something to just really consider, because it's like a storage unit. You can only put but so much furniture in there, and when that runs out of space, you either have to lease more furniture, another storage unit to place your furniture and belongings in, or you have to come up with another solution. These computer systems are very much the same. How do we store all of this information and files? So we'll move on to the next section, setting up and using computers. Chapter 5, setting up and configuring a PC. If we were to go up to Best Buy right now, purchase a PC, hand you the box, what's next? How do we go about setting up and configuring that PC properly? Plugging that bad boy in, booting it up for the first time. What does and what does not need to go on the computer? How does setting up a home computer differ from setting up a computer maybe in a business environment, or for a colleague, or for your boss? What exactly does that look like? We'll cover that. Chapter 6, understanding operating systems. Most people probably have a somewhat understanding of what an operating system is. Windows, Microsoft Windows is the operating system most common to the everyday user. You've seen it in school and home and probably other business environments, from Windows 98 to 7, 10, XP, and Vista, you name it. That is one operating system. If you're an iPhone or an Android user, then you're probably familiar with another operating system, whether you realize it or not, and that would be for Android, the Android operating system, and for Apple, the iOS, or if you're using an Apple PC of some sort, then the different operating systems which they have proprietary to their machines. So we'll talk about different operating systems. I am currently running this video off of a Linux operating system. If you're in the world of IT, that may be familiar with you. If not, then we'll get into that. We'll talk about working with applications in Chapter 7. Applications, short name, apps, all over your phone, all over your home screen. What is an app, what is an application, and what is the purpose? Applications achieve a specific purpose. They are programs which are executable that have a lot of different files and things which make them up, but they all come together to serve one purpose. So on my phone, whether I have Google Maps, Uber, a messaging app, and let's say a text editing app, they are all different applications that are there to achieve a purpose. So working with applications, and what exactly does that look like? We'll go to managing files in Chapter 8. So to kind of piggyback off of Chapter 4, data storage and sharing, how do we manage files? Where do these things get stored at? Who should have the permission to view these files? Who should have the permission to change these files around and things of that nature? How do we manage these things so that what we have is there safely, and what we open up is exactly what we think it is? How do we manage files? The last chapter of this section is Chapter 9, setting up and configuring a mobile device. Very much like Chapter 5, setting up and configuring a PC. We'll talk about, you go up to your phone provider and get your new cell phone. How are we going to set that cell phone up? What does it need? What does it not need? Etc. In the last section, network security and maintenance. We hear a lot of buzzwords. You hear cybersecurity being thrown around a lot, and how many job openings there are, and constant breaches and things in the news. We'll tackle this subject at a high level, and as we grow upon our knowledge, we will get deeper into our videos. So Chapter 10, configuring network and internet connectivity. How do we make sure that two computers, whether they're right beside each other, can talk? Whether these computers are located in a campus university, or maybe one computer is in Los Angeles, the other is in Africa, and the third being in China. How are these computers able to talk within seconds, if not milliseconds? And how do we configure that, and how do we verify that they are talking? We'll get into that in Chapter 10. Chapter 11, local computer security threats and best practices. We all have local machines that we keep near and dear to us, in our homes, in our pockets. They're ours. How do we go about making sure that these machines are secure, that they're less vulnerable to attacks, and that people are not able to access our machines and get things that we would not want them to see? How do we go about that? So local computer security threats and best practices. In Chapter 12, we'll cover online security. It piggybacks off the previous chapter. If you have a computer that you never connect up to the internet, then you're probably not at risk for certain viruses and certain bad things going out there in the internet. But most people, they buy a computer for the purpose of surfing the internet. So how do we make sure that we're taking the best practices and keeping our information secure? In Chapter 13, we'll cover maintenance and management. Like anything else in life, these systems require ongoing maintenance and management. All the time you see people, devices crashing, or just not being able to boot up, or this or that, or they're running very slow. How do we stay aware of a healthy computer, a healthy running machine, and just crossing our T's and dotting our I's so that we're safe and not sorry. In the very last chapter, Chapter 14, We'll talk about computer troubleshooting and problem solving. We'll talk about some basic methods and some basic different ways of troubleshooting different issues. Maybe your printer won't set up properly. Maybe your computer keeps disconnecting from the Wi-Fi, or maybe there's just something strange going on. We'll look into some different methods of making sure you know how to troubleshoot basic problems and solve those problems repeatedly whenever they arise. So, once again, these are the 14 chapters which make up this CompTIA IT Fundamentals book. Whether you're looking to go into security, whether you're looking to go into software development, project management, whatever you're looking to go into, having the basic understanding so that you're conversive, so you're not making the simple mistakes and you're looking like a bonehead, is good to start. So thank you for tuning into this video, and please look forward to the ones that we have upcoming.